Hello friends, welcome to Shriram's. The topic for today's discussion is India and Australia Defence Agreement. India and Australia signed a landmark defence agreement in early June 2020 for reciprocal access to military bases for logistics support to further broad base and consolidate the security relationship. The pact is the outcome of the online summit between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Australian counterpart Scott Morrison on 4th June. It is called the Mutual Logistics Support Agreement or MLSA. It will allow militaries of the two countries to use each other's bases for repair and replenishment of supplies, besides facilitating scaling up of overall defense cooperation. India has already signed similar agreements with the US, France, and Singapore. This is the first virtual bilateral summit India is holding with any country. Australian PM Scott Morrison was scheduled to visit New Delhi in January 2020 but had postponed it due to the bushfires in Australia. What is the substance of the MLSA? MLSA would clear the way for more military exchanges and exercises in the Indo-Pacific. The agreements allows Indian and Australian military ships and aircrafts to access maintenance facilities available at each other's bases. MLSA is not only important for our two nations but also for the Indo-Pacific region and the whole world. Potential areas in maritime security include greater cooperation in humanitarian and disaster relief operations and search and rescue, maritime border protection, and maritime domain awareness. The joint statement issued after the talks said both sides agreed to continue to deepen and broaden defense cooperation by enhancing the scope and complexity of the military exercises and engagement activities to develop new ways to address shared security challenges. What is the history of the bilateral strategic cooperation? The two countries had originally entered into a strategic partnership in 2009. Prime Ministers Abbott and Modi signed a landmark deal to increase their nations' defense relationship in 2014. Part of the framework for security cooperation includes annual prime ministerial meetings and joint maritime exercises. Areas of increased cooperation include counter-terrorism, border control, and regional and international institutions. India-Australia partnership is for advancing regional peace and stability and combating terrorism and transnational crimes. The two nations formally decided to elevate bilateral ties from currently strategic partnership to a comprehensive strategic partnership, spanning the entire gamut of the relationship. For instance, accords were also struck to enhance cooperation on cyber and related technologies. Why the security cooperation? The broader security cooperation is for a variety of reasons. To keep the sea and ocean commons free of interference, to ensure that bilateral trade and investments are protected, to ensure regional economies are safe, and for the strategic stability of Asia and the world. Such stability is subject to increasing danger due to China's growing military and economic pressure in the region. What binds us together? There are multiple factors binding India and Australia, namely geographical proximity. Both are democracies. Both are members of the Indo-Pacific and have similar security perceptions, and both resent Chinese unilateralism and aggression. What are Aussie Index and Quad? Every 2 years, Australia and India also conduct joint naval exercises in the Indian Ocean called the Aussie Index. In 2019, Aussie Index focused on anti-submarine warfare. India and Australia, along with the United States and Japan, are part of the four-nation Quad, an arrangement that focuses on maintenance of a rules-based order in the Indo-Pacific region. This has also brought India and Australia much closer to each other strategically. India is looking forward to Australia's participation in annual naval exercises that the country holds with US and Japan in the Indian and Pacific Oceans as a sign of concrete security ties between the countries. How can we say that Australia and India can be described as natural allies? Australia has traditionally supported India's position on Arunachal Pradesh against the Chinese designs. Australia also supports India's candidacy for permanent membership of United Nations Security Council. The country also affirmed its continuous support for India's membership of the Nuclear Suppliers Group. Both are the members of Commonwealth of Nations and of regional organizations including Indian Ocean Rim Association for Regional Cooperation and ASEAN Regional Forum. Of late, Australia is facing Chinese anger. It has become intense since the pandemic broke out. Australia angered China by pushing for an international review into the origins and spread of the novel coronavirus, which first emerged in the central Chinese city of Wuhan late last year. Although China is the biggest buyer of Australia's exports, but there have been trade frictions between the two recently. Well, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast.